Hello everyone, Alan here again. How's everyone doing today? Let's see, who do we have so far? So we've 20 people joined so far. We'll just give a few minutes as usual for people to join in and get ready. So while we're doing that, I'll call out some of the names I see. KitKat, Maraid, Jack, Coding Club, Vigo, Jack, Ruby, Vinya, Chris, Tara, Ailish. Think, is there anyone else I've missed? Polly Pocket, Coder1234, Matteo, loads here. Shez is here as well. So you're all very welcome. Um, it's just gone 12 o'clock, so I just want to give a couple of minutes just to let people join in. I just actually want to ask, so of the Coding Club members, did you find the hidden Easter egg game? So we hid an Easter egg game that we released on Monday. Um, we hid it in on our Coding Club. So if you did find it, click on the green thumbs up to let me know, and if you didn't, click on the red thumbs down. So just want to see how many did. So KitKat says that they found it. Anyone else find the hidden? Matteo didn't find it. Tomry didn't. Vinya, I'll show you where it is now in a second. Chris didn't. Jack, Ruby didn't as well. Okay, I'll just wait for a couple more to come in. Ailish found it. Coding Club found it. Vigo found it. Erica found it. Moon111B found it as well. Okay, well done to those who did find it. So let me go into full screen and I'll show you how you access the hidden Easter egg game. So if you scroll down on any of the web pages in our Coding Club, if you go down to the very bottom, you're going to see these links here. They're for our Facebook and YouTube and so on. But we put a little Easter egg one here. And if you click on that, it'll actually open up our hidden Easter egg game. So it's a cool little game. It's a scratch game. So basically Easter eggs fall from the top, different types of Easter eggs, and you have to try and catch them. And then you have a score there. So that's where it is. If you want to do that later on, it's the little Easter egg. We're going to leave it there for another day or two and then we'll take it down. Okay, so how many do we have? We're up to 26 people. So hello everyone if you're just after joining in. So we're going to get going now in a minute. What I'll do first though is just as usual, I'll just kind of tell you how this works. If it's your first time doing a code along. So at the moment you're viewing me in the little YouTube box here. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to demonstrate how to do a step. So I'm going to switch across to Scratch. So you will have two tabs open. You don't need to open the second one just yet, but you will have two tabs open, one for the instructions and then one for Scratch. And when I'm showing you, when I'm demonstrating one of the steps, if you want to go into full screen on the video so you get a nice clear picture, you can see what I'm doing, to see the code I'm doing for the step. And then when you're ready, come out of full screen, switch across to Scratch and go do the step. And once you're finished, come back and just mark it as done. Okay, so we've 27 people so far, so I think we'll get going. I'll just quickly show you what we're going to be doing today. So we're just making a maze game in Scratch. So it's an easy enough game to make. There's not too much code and we'll take our time. So the way it works is you're going to have a little beetle sprite and a maze, and the beetle sprite needs to work its way through the maze. And how it does that is by the arrow keys on your keyboard. So we're going to program the arrow keys on your keyboard to be able to move the beetle through the maze. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to close my Scratch. Okay, so we're going to get going. So again, the way it works is when I'm demonstrating a step, just go into full screen and then come out of full screen and go do the step yourself. So the very first step is to open up the Scratch website. So we have a link here for Scratch. So if you click on that, it'll open up the Scratch website. And then up along the top, if you click on Create, that's going to open up the Scratch project editor. And once that opens up, we're going to delete the cat sprite. We don't need the cat sprite for this project, so we're just going to delete the cat cat sprite by clicking on the little trash icon in the sprite list there. So if you want to go ahead and do that first step, step number 1, so click on the link and open up a Scratch, open up a new tab with the Scratch website, and then click on the Create button up the very top of the Scratch website, and that will open up the Scratch project editor. And then we're going to delete the cat sprite. So at the start of when you start a new project, it always adds in the little cat sprite. We're not using that sprite in this game, so you can click on the little trash icon and that will delete the cat sprite. Once you've done that, come back and mark the step as done. You'll get your points and your badges. Oh, I got the solar system from the space series. Nice. Okay, so I'll give everyone just a little bit of time just to do step number 1. And we'll see the people as they do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, Ed got a UFO beam, a rare from the space series. Matteo got a space station moon alt. That's kind of like from Star Wars. That's pretty cool. Ailish got a starship. KitKat is moving ahead. That's fine. If you want to move ahead through the steps, that's fine. Or if you want to just come along with the rest of us. Ruby Red got a user astronaut. Okay, so I'll just give a little bit of time just for everyone to get that step done. I'm just waiting for my stats to update. They haven't updated yet. Normally it tells me how many coders. Oh, there we go. Just come in. Good timing. So far 18 coders have done step number 1. Brilliant. Well done, everyone. That's done it so far. Okay, so then the next step, step number 2. Actually, before I go on to step number 2, just to quickly say that as usual, we're going to be giving out a prize to one of the coders today. So you're going to get 250 points for completing the lesson, but also, if I go into my main cam, we're going to be giving out a microbit, which is a cool little microcomputer, if I can get it to focus. It's a cool little microcomputer. Whoop, can I do that? No. Yep, there we go. That you can program. It's got LEDs on it. It's got buttons. It's got loads of different sensors. So it's a really cool thing. So at the end of the lesson, for all the people that did complete the lesson, we're going to do a little raffle and then give out the microbit. Okay, so we're going to move on to step number 2. We've 19 coders have completed step number 1. So step number 2 is we're going to upload and add the maze sprite. So we have in Scratch, we have a sprite library. So we've loads of different sprites in the library, but we don't have a maze. So we're going to actually upload our own picture of a maze into Scratch as a sprite. So we're going to be doing this picture here in step number 2. But first you need to save it to your computer. And the way you do that is you right click on it. It'll bring up a little menu. Maybe I can I zoom in a little bit? No, that's not showing. Okay, so you right click on it and then you are going to choose save image as, save image as. And that's going to open up your a box to ask you where on your computer you want to save it. So if you want to save it in your downloads or your desktop, I have it saved already, so I'll just replace it. So just click on save, and that'll save the maze file from the website onto your computer. So that's the first thing to do. And then the second thing to do, once you've done that, is to go into Scratch, and down the very bottom right, we have the choose a sprite button. And we're going to choose the upload a sprite, which is the kind of arrow pointing up. We click on that, and we need to find the same folder on our computer. Click on the file, the maze file, and click on open, and then that will put it into the stage area there. We can see it there. So if you want to go ahead and do that step now, take your time. So you're going to, in the instructions in step number 2, you are going to right click on the maze image, and you're going to click on save image as. Choose a place on your computer and click on save or OK, and that'll save it onto your computer. And then you're going to go into Scratch. You're going to go down to the very bottom right, and you're going to choose to upload a sprite. If you click on that, it'll ask you what folder to open on your computer. If you find the folder where you put your maze image, select it, and then it'll put it into the stage area here. The last step to do, or the last thing to do in this step, is just to drag it into the middle of the stage area. So if you just kind of click and hold, left click and hold on one of the walls, you're able to drag it around. And we just want to place it somewhere just roughly in the middle, So I'm going to go and mark my step as done. Get my Science Series badge. Oh, I got a legendary magnet. Cool. And we'll just wait for everyone to do step number 2. So today there's 6 steps to get the maze working for the beetle to go through the maze, not be able to go through the walls. And then we have a couple of more steps if we want to just add something at the end. We might add a chaser, so a sprite that's chasing us through the maze. So if we do have time, we will do that. Okay, I'm going to give a little bit more time for people to finish step number 2. We're up to 14 coders have finished step number 2, so I'll just give a little bit more time. Okay, so who has it done so far? So Erica is working ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ed has done it. Polly Pocket has joined the code along. If you have just joined and you're a little bit behind, that's no problem. We have all the steps laid out. If you want to just follow them step by step, one by one, take as much time as you want. We're going to leave the project will be up there all day for you to do, and we'll even upload the video at the end. We'll put the video up here at the end. Okay, so who else has got it done? So Kit Kat, Mairead, Chris J, I Am Boss, Vinya, Ailish, Tommy's working ahead, Tara, Coder 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have a good few people that have finished it, so we're up to 15. Okay, so we're going to move on to step number 3. So this is an easy enough step. We're just going to add in the beetle sprite. So if I switch it across to Scratch, down the bottom right again, I'm going to choose a sprite. Choose to add a sprite by clicking on the magnifying glass. That's going to open up the sprite library. And I want to find the beetle, which is over here. Click on the beetle and it'll just add the sprite to your project. So if you want to go ahead and do that, add in the beetle sprite. Oh, and there's one more part to this. If you want to keep on working away, adding the beetle sprite. Once you've added the beetle sprite, drag it to the start of the maze. So the start of the maze is kind of on the left hand side, down the bottom a little bit. So drag your beetle over there, because that's where we want the beetle to start. So I'll just wait for my stats to update here and see how many have completed step number 3. So again, you're just going in and you're adding in the beetle sprite, and then you're going to drag the beetle sprite to the start of the maze, which is down the bottom left. In the next step, we're going to make the beetle a little bit smaller, because you've probably noticed already that the beetle sprite is too big to fit through the corridors, the halls of the maze. So we're going to need to make the beetle sprite a little bit smaller. Okay, so we 15 coders have done step number 3. I'll give a little bit more time. So I Am Boss has done it. Vinya, Ruby Red, Moon 11B, Vigo, Mairead, Chris J, Ailish, Tara, Code 1, 2, 3, 4. Polly Pocket is already up to the second one. Well done. I think you joined a little bit late, so you're flying along. Coding Club has done step number 3. Okay, so we're up to 18 now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ed, Curl, 12 have all completed it. Okay, so we're going to move on to step number 4, and this is where we're going to shrink the beetle. So we're going to add some codes to the beetle sprite. We're going to set the size to 15%, and then we're going to use a go to XY block to set where the beetle should start when you start the game. Now, in the instructions, it says 0 and 0. We're not going to put 0 and 0 in there. We're actually going to put in the coordinates, the X and Y address, the X and Y coordinates of the start of the maze. So this is code we're going to add to the beetle sprite. So make sure the beetle sprite is selected. You're going to go into the events toolbox. So let me zoom in on the toolbox. You're going to go into the events toolbox and drag in when green flag clicked. So let me make that bigger. Then you're going to go into the looks toolbox and get its set size to 100%. And instead of 100, we're going to put in 15. 15. So if I click on the green flag here, you'll see my sprite, my beetle sprite shrinks right down. I'm going to actually drag it now to the front. And it's very important that you drag it to the front of the maze before you do add the next block. So we're going to go into the motion toolbox and get a go to XY. And the numbers that are in here already, so mine says minus 157 and minus 73 for Y. They are the coordinates. That's the address of that exact spot in the stage. So it adds it in. It adds in the numbers automatically. So that's why you want to drag your sprite to the place you want it first, and then drag in the go to XY. So now even if I move the sprite up here and click on the green flag, it'll always start right here at the entrance of the maze. So if you want to go ahead and do that step. So again, this is code that you're going to be adding to the beetle sprite. So make sure the beetle sprite is the one with the blue box, the blue border around it. You're going to go into the events toolbox and get a when green flag clicked. So that's a trigger block that's going to start our code when we click on the green flag. Then go into the looks toolbox and get the set size to 100% and join that in underneath when green flag clicked. And instead of 100%, you're going to put in 15 there, 15. So that's shrinking down the beetle to make it smaller. And then again, just drag, make sure your beetle is right at the entrance of the maze. So drag it by holding down the left mouse button and dragging it across. Position it at the start, at the entrance of the maze, and then go into the motion toolbox and get a go to X, Y block. And that'll have the numbers for X and Y, the coordinates already put in for the start of the maze, for the entrance. While we're waiting for people there to finish step number 4, for those of you that have finished step number 4, if you do know another way of making a sprite smaller, so one of the ways is to use a set size to block, but there's actually a way we can make sprites smaller without using a block. If you do know it, click on the green thumbs up. If you don't know it, click on the red thumbs down, and I'll quickly show you to those of you who don't know it. So Ailish knows it. Well done, Ailish. So again, there's 2 different ways you can change the size or set the size of a sprite. One is by using the set size to code block, and then there's another way as well. So KitKat 2511. Don't know it, so I'll show you now in a second. Ruby Red does, Coder1234 does, I Am Boss doesn't. So I'll show you how to do it now. So when I switch across to Scratch again, so one of the ways, as we said, was to use the block, set size to block. But there's also, you'll see here when you have a sprite selected. So hang on, let me try and zoom in a little bit on this. So where is that? So I'll drag this across here. Oh, no. Okay, so when I have a sprite selected, you get all these different, they're called properties, which is just the different details or settings of that sprite. So we have the name of the sprite, we have its current X and Y coordinates. We can say whether it shows or not. So at the moment, the eye is on. If we click on the eye with the line through it, we see our sprite disappear. So you can set it to show or not show. And then there's also a size box here. So you can see it's 15. That's because we set it to 15. So if I wanted to change it to 50%, I could do that. And you can see my sprite goes 50%. So, and then there's also a direction, which is what direction the sprite is pointing in. So there are the two different ways you can set the size. You can actually just change it here if you just want to change it once, or you can actually use a code block. So I'm going to click on my code again, and that'll run the code and put it back down. Okay, so let's see, how are we doing? Okay, brilliant. We're up to 18 coders have completed step number 4. So we're going to move on to step number 5. And that is, we're now going to program the arrow keys on our keyboards. So on our keyboards, we've got loads of different keys, all the letters and numbers, but we also have some arrows. So up, down, left and right arrows. And we're going to program these arrows to control the Beetle sprite so that it can go up, down, left or right. So if you want to go into full screen on the YouTube video, I'll show you how we're going to do this. So if I switch across to Scratch, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just again make sure that my Beetle sprite is the one selected. It has the blue box around it. So I'm going to add some code to that. I'm going to get this code block out of the way, so I have a bit of space. And then I'm going to go into the Events toolbox, and I'm going to drag in a when space key pressed. When space key pressed. And let's program the up arrow first. So I'm going to click on the little white arrow beside space, and I'm going to choose up arrow. So when up arrow key pressed, I want to go into the motion toolbox and get a point in direction block and add that in. So when up arrow is pressed, I want to point in direction up. So I can click on the number and it'll open up this little dial where I can choose what direction I want to point the sprite in. And for up arrow, I want it to point in 0 degrees, which is up. So you drag it up, and then I want it just to move 10 steps forward. So still in the motion toolbox, get a move 10 steps and add that in at the bottom. So now when I click, so let me zoom in on the stage. When I press on my up arrow, you can see that the Beetle is moving up. So if you want to go ahead and just do that part of the step, so go in and add in those 3 different blocks to the Beetle sprite. So you're going to go into the Events toolbox and get a when space key pressed block. And you're going to click on the little white arrow in that block. And instead of space key, you want up arrow. So instead of space, you want up arrow, which is the second one in the list. Click on that. And then you're going to go into the motion toolbox and get a point in direction 90 block and click it in underneath the when up arrow key pressed block. And then click on the number so you can get the little dial and drag it so it's pointing up straight up, or you can just change the number. So what degrees is going to point in from 90 to 0. So put in 0 there if you want to do it that way, and then get a move 10 steps block and add that in. Once you have them in, press your up arrow on your keyboard and you should see that your sprite will move up. If you press any of the other arrows, it won't do anything because we haven't done anything with those yet. But I just want to give people a little bit of time. We'll just program the up arrow first, and then we'll program the left, right and down arrows. So when you have got that done, if you want to just click on the green thumbs up just to let me know, and then I'll go back in and show you what we do for the other arrows. So when you have programmed the up arrow, go back in and just click on the green thumbs up. So 2511 and Jack have got it done. I Am Boss has it done. Well done. Ruby Red, Mairead. Okay, great. So it seems like a good few, if not everybody, has got it done. So I'm going to show you now. So again, if you want to go into full screen, I'm going to show you how to program the other arrows. So left, right and down. Now there's 2 ways we could do this. So we could just drag in the blocks again and then change them the way we want. Or if we want to do it a little bit smarter, a little bit quicker, what we can actually do is we can right click on a group of blocks. So the very top block here, when up arrow key pressed, if I right click on that, it gives me a little menu. And if I choose the first option in that menu, which is duplicate, it'll create a copy of those 3 blocks and I can place them somewhere else. So I'll put them there. Now I can change them. So I'm going to change it from up arrow to down arrow, and then I'm going to change the pointing direction from up to down. Very simple. And now when I press my down arrow, you'll see my beetle moves down. So doing it that way, we can duplicate it again, and this time we'll do right arrow, and again we will get it to point in direction right, and we'll duplicate it a third time and change the first block to left arrow and change the point in direction to left. And once I have all those done, I can move up, down, left and right. So if you want to go ahead and do that now, so you can add in the blocks from the toolbox one by one if you want, or if you want to duplicate them, then you can just right click on the very top one, the when up arrow key pressed, and then click on duplicate, and then change it to say down arrow if you want to program the down arrow, and make sure you change the pointing direction to point down. So you need to do this for the down arrow, the right arrow and the left arrow. So then we have all 4 of the arrows, of the direction arrows programmed. So I'm going to go across and mark my step as done and just give people time to do that. Oh, so this is another space series. I got a space shuttle. So that's step number 5. I'll just give people a little bit of time to do that. And wait for my stats to update. And we'll be moving on to step number 6 then, but I want to just make sure that everyone has enough time to do step number 5. So if you're still working on step number 5, that's no problem. Take your time and just add in the code in your own pace. There's no rush. We've loads of time. So I can see some people giving some thumbs up, Danny Mack. So okay, so we've 19 coders have completed step number 5. So keep going. If you're still doing step number 5, we'll give you more time. While people are working away, I'll just call out some of the coders. So Polly Pocket, Coding Club, Coder1234, Danny Mack, Code Ninja is me, 2511, 1234 Ed, Ailish, Vigo, Vinya, I Am Boss, Tara, Mairead, Ruby, Erica, Chris. Have I missed anyone? Jack, Moon 11 1B, Tomry, loads of people. Okay, so we're up to 19 of it done. Well done. 19, so Ruby Red was moving ahead. Well done. Vigo's moving ahead. If you are moving ahead, that's fine. There's no problem with you going ahead. You know, do it at your own pace. You know, we all have different abilities. We all have different, you know, some people might be brand new to coding. Some people might have done loads of coding projects. That's fine. Just work away at your own pace. All the steps, all the projects will stay up here. We have all the code, even just so people know, and if there's any parents watching, with any of our projects, we always put in the finished solution. So up the very top, you'll see project downloads, and there's a mazegame.sb2. So that's basically just a file that has the finished steps in it. In Scratch, you can actually go file and load from your computer. So you can open up a file from your computer. So if you ever want to get the full code of one of our projects, just download the file at the start, and then go into Scratch, click on File, and then Load from your computer and choose the file that you've saved. That'll open it up and it'll have the full solution in there. So even if you work through the steps and it isn't quite working for you, you can't really figure out what's wrong, we do give the full finished lesson code with each project. So you can always go and check it there and do it that way. Okay, so brilliant. We're up to 20 coders have finished step number 5. So we'll move on to step number 6, which is we're going to stop the beetle going through the wall. So you might have noticed this when you were testing out the arrow keys, that when you press and go through a wall, it just goes straight through the wall. And obviously we don't want that to happen in the maze. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in a little bit of code. So we're going to put in a forever, because we want to keep on checking if the beetle is touching the steps or the maze sprite. And if so, we're going to say move -10 steps. So if they take a step forward and they touch the maze, we want them to take a step back. So that's what this code is going to do. So if you want to go into full screen, those of you that are following along with me, I'll show you how we do it. So again, this is code we're going to be giving to the beetle sprite, and we're going to add it underneath the go to XY block. So we're going to go into the control toolbox and we're going to get a forever block, and we're going to put that in underneath the go to XY. And then we're going to go still in the control toolbox. We're going to get an if then block, and we're going to put that inside the forever. So you'll see as you kind of put it inside, it shows a kind of shadow and that it's ready to take it. So you drop it and it goes in. So forever if, then we're going into the sensing toolbox and get the very first block in there. It says touching mouse pointer, and we're going to put that inside the if then. There's a little kind of shaped gap there, little hole. And as you drag the block over, it gets a halo. Again, that means it's ready to drop in. So it says if touching mouse pointer, but we're going to click on the little white arrow and we're going to change it to steps maze. And that's what the name of this sprite is. It's called steps maze. So your code should say forever if touching steps maze, then, and go into the motion toolbox, get a move 10 steps and put that inside the if then. And very important, you need to change that to -10, because you want to do a minus figure because you're taking a step backwards. So let me click on the green flag just to make sure my code is all loaded up, my new code. And I'm going to test here and see if my sprite can go through walls. And as you can see, each time my beetle bumps off a wall, it just goes backwards 1 step. So if you want to go ahead and add in that code, so again, this is code you're adding to the beetle sprite, and you're going to add the new code underneath the go to XY block. You're going to go into the control toolbox, which is the orange one, and you're going to get a forever block. The reason why we use a forever block is we want a forever block and make something happen again and again and again forever. So we want to forever keep on checking if the beetle is touching the maze. And if the beetle is touching the maze, then we're going to move back to 10 steps. So add in the forever block. Then inside that block, you want to put in an if then block, again from the control toolbox. Then go into the sensing toolbox and get a touching mouse pointer block. And that goes in the little hole, the little shaped hole of the if then block, and change it to be steps maze. So instead of touching mouse pointer, it should say touching steps maze. And then go into the motion toolbox and get a move 10 steps and put that inside the if then block. And instead of move 10 steps, we want to change that to -10. So take us 10 steps backwards. And once you've done that, come back in to the instructions and just click on done. Get your awards and your badges. Oh, I'm after getting another legendary badge. Nice. Okay, so we will see now how many have done step number 6. I'll just wait for my stats to update. So take your time, add in the code. Sometimes we add in code in the wrong places, or we add in the wrong block by accident, and then you click on the green flag and it doesn't quite work right. And that's where you need to just go back in and double check your code that you added it in right. If you didn't, it's no problem. I make mistakes all the time, and it's only when you click on the green flag and you run your code to see if it's working, you notice something's up. So you just need to go back in and just double check it. So double check that you've done it the same as the instructions. And sometimes even what I do is, when I just can't figure it out, I might even delete the whole list of blocks of that area for that sprite, and I might just start again if I've got time, if I can't find it. So let me see. So we've got 23 coders, brilliant, have done the step number 6. Okay, so that's nearly everybody. I think there's 25 logged in, so well done. That was the main part of the lesson, was just to create a little game where you've got a maze, you've got a sprite that's shrunken down that can work its way through the maze. Now we're going to just have a little think about how we could improve the game. What could we do to improve the game? So have a little think there about what are some of the things that you would like to add in. If you can think of an idea, if you do think of an idea, give me a green thumbs up. I just want to see if people have a few different ideas. You won't be able to say them to me, but you will be able to let me know if you do have an idea. So if you do have an idea, click on the green thumbs up just to let me know. So it looks like Moon11 does, Tomry does, Danny Mac does. It's always good to put in your own ideas and do a little bit of exploring. Polly Pocket has her own idea, Vinya doesn't. That's okay. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Some of the examples, so in step number 7 here, we have some examples of what you could do. So I'm not going to do these now, but I'm going to just talk about them a little bit. So you could add a finish area of your maze. So what this would be in Scratch or on the sprite itself. What you might do, go into costumes and you might edit it to maybe put in a little green dot at the end, and that's your kind of finish area of the maze. And then what you would do is you would put in some code into the Beetle sprite to say, if you're touching that color that you just added, then say you did it for 2 seconds, or play a sound, or do something like that. So that's one idea, is to add a finish area. You could do it so that you have no mistakes. So what that means is, when you are, so let me choose the Beetle sprite. If you do touch off the maze, not only, so instead of saying move 10 steps, we can make you go, let me duplicate some code here. We can make you go back to the start. So you have to do it perfect. So if I show you here, I'm working away and I go up, and say I touch off this wall here. Oh, I'll put you all the way back to the start. So in that one, you have to do it absolutely perfect to get it all the way to the end. Another idea is to add different levels. So you can search for different maze images, using Google. And just like we did in step number 2, where we downloaded the maze onto our computer and then we uploaded it into Scratch as a sprite, you could do the same thing with different mazes. And you can maybe program the space key or something like that to switch between the mazes. So if you complete a maze, you move on to something a little bit more difficult. Okay, so what time are we at here? So it's 12:40. So what I'll quickly show you is, and you don't have to do these steps if you don't want to, before we do the draw for the microbit, I'm going to quickly show you how we could add in a chaser sprite. So in this example here, the crab is going to chase the beetle to see if they can catch it. So not only do you have to work your way through the maze, you have to get away from the crab sprite. So you can follow along with me if you want to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in the crab sprite from the sprite library, and then we're going to add in some code. So we're going to start the beetle down the bottom left, the crab. We're going to start the crab down the bottom left, and we're going to make it smaller, and then we're going to say forever and use this block called glide. This is a really cool block, and what it does is it just makes the sprite glide towards wherever you tell it in a certain amount of seconds. So if you say glide there in 1 second, it gets there really quick. If you say glide there in 5 seconds, it will take 5 seconds to glide to that spot. So we're going to glide it towards wherever the beetle is. So let me go back into Scratch. So I'll put that back in. So I'm going to go down and open up the sprite library and find the crab. Where's the red crab? C, there we go. Add in the crab. Then I'm going to go into the events toolbox, get a when green flag clicked. Let me check my code. Yep, we're going to say motion. So the motion toolbox and get a go to XY. Actually, before I drag in that, I'm going to drag my crab down the bottom right. And now it has the XY numbers for the bottom right. So I'm going to drag it in now. So I'll just test that worked. So when I click on the green flag, yep, the crab goes down here. I'm going to make it smaller. So again, you can use the set size 2 block in the, let me scroll up a little bit, the set size 2 block in the looks toolbox, or you can just change the properties size over here. So I'm going to say 30%. So start small down here. And then I'm going to go into the control toolbox and get a forever. And then into the motion toolbox, and in here, there's glide 1 seconds to, and it says random position. I'm going to change that to be the beetle sprite, but first of all, I'm going to put that inside the forever block. I'm going to change it to 5. Actually, I'll do 3 seconds. You can change it, you can test it and see how fast it goes. And instead of random position, I'm going to choose beetle. So now when I click on the green flag and zoom in, you can see that the crab is going towards and chasing the beetle. So the crab is taking 3 seconds to glide towards wherever the beetle is. So if you want to go ahead and do that, so you're going to add in the crab sprite from the toolbox, and then you're going to add in some code. So you're going to say when green flag clicked, first of all drag the crab sprite down to the bottom right, and then drag in the go to XY block, and that will come filled with the X and Y numbers for the bottom right. Set size to 30%, that's in the looks toolbox. Then into the control toolbox to get a forever block, and then back into the motion toolbox and get a glide 1 secs to random position, and that goes inside the forever block, but we'll say glide 3 seconds, so change to 1, 2, 3, and then instead of random position, you're going to click on the little white arrow and choose beetle, and that will make it glide towards the beetle in 3 seconds. Once you've put in the code, click on the green flag, make sure it's working, and then come back and mark the step as done. So I'm after getting a Galaxy badge. So I'll give a little bit of time there for people to do step number 7. Oh, sorry, step number 8. Which is to add in the chaser sprite, so the crab sprite. Okay, step number 9 is to add in some sound. I'll wait to do that. I won't do that just yet. I'll give people time to program the crab, because there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different blocks that you need to add in for that, as well as adding in the sprite, the crab sprite. And we're also actually, while I'm waiting, what I'll do is I'm going to go and get the list of coders for today. So we have 26 coders. And I'm going to get the list and we will do the draw for the microbit. Okay, let me drag this inside so we can see. Let me just try and position this. Okay. So 1 all the way to 26. So number 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4 add, and then we should, so if you're watching this and you're logged in, you should see your username. Listed somewhere here, and then you've got a number beside you there. So Code Ninja, I'm going to take out me. We don't want me. So we're going to just choose a random number between 1 and 25, and this, whoever number comes out, we'll post off the microbit to you. Okay, so let me I'll just add in let's add in Ben here. Ben is going to tell us the winner. So we're going to add in some code to choose a random number. So when green flag clicked, we're going to get Ben to think for 2 seconds and then say, and we're going to join some words together. So we're going to say the lucky coder is number, and we need to get a random number. So pick random. Let me get rid of the toolbox. So pick random 1 to 25. So let me just check that that is correct. So 1 to 25. Okay. So what I will say is some of these, this is our 4th or 5th code along. So some people have won microbits already. If somebody who has won a microbit already wins again, I think it's only fair that we do the draw until we get somebody new. If you do win it again, if it's one of the coders that won a microbit previously, instead of getting it, we'll give you a bonus 100 points. Just so you get something, but I think that's the best way to do it, so it's fair. Okay, so we're going to find out who is the lucky coder between 1 and 25. So Ben here is going to say it. So here we go. So the lucky coder is number 21. So let's jump across and see who 21 is. So Star Beacon. So you are the lucky coder today. So we'll send you an email just to find out where we'll post off the microbit to. So well done, Star Beacon. Okay, so where are we? So there is one more step that if you want to do it, you can do it. And that is just to, when if the crab catches your beetle, you can get it to play a sound. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add in an if-then block. And we're going to say if touching beetle, then we're going to play a sound until done. Oh, Kikash has given me the red thumbs down. Maybe Kikash really wanted to win the microbit. Never mind, you always have a chance. The next one, we're going to keep on doing our little giveaways. So I'll show you how you do this. So I'm going to delete Ben. We don't need Ben anymore. So this is code we're going to add in to the crab sprite, and what we're going to do is go into the control toolbox and we're going to get an if then, and we're going to put it underneath the glide 3 seconds to beetle. It's still inside the forever because we want to keep on checking this, and then we're going to go into the sensing toolbox and get a touching mouse pointer and put that in the gap of the if then, but instead of mouse pointer we want to say beetle. So if the crab is touching the beetle, then let's just play a sound. So you could, in the sounds toolbox, let me zoom in on the toolbox. In the sounds toolbox, we're going to get a play sound until done. And let me drag this across, and we're going to drag that in and put it inside the if then. So that's just a kind of pop sound. So here you should hear the pop sound there. If you want, you can actually go into the sounds tab. So let me go out here. So if you click on sounds here, it'll show you all the sounds that are listed for that sprite. So at the moment there's just one, which is pop. If I play it, you can actually go in, there's a sounds library. So down the bottom left here, I am choosing a sound and clicking on the magnifying glass, and it's going to show you all the library of different sounds that are in there. So you can choose laugh or jump, or there's loads of different ones. You can even click on the categories up the top here, so animals, effects, and so on, and it'll just show you the sounds for that category. So if you want to go in, you can choose a different sound. So I'm after choosing laugh 1 here, and that adds it to the sprite. But you will need to go back into your code, and in the play sound block, click on the little white arrow, and you can choose your new one. So if you want to go ahead and add in that, so Matteo's just after doing it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, Ed completed the project. So I'll just call out some of the names while people are finishing there. So Curl12 has added the chaser and got the space station moon badge. Danny Mac, KitKat, I Am Boss, Jack. Who else have we got? Maraid, Coding Club, Ailish, Vinya, 2511, Matteo, I think I called out Matteo, Chris J, Vigo, Coder1234. So lots of different coders. So that's it for the code along today. Well done. Well done for joining in and doing it. Those that are finished, really well done, and those who are still going, really well done as well. Keep on going. We'll leave the project up there all the way through today, so it'll be there for you if you want to go back. We'll also upload the YouTube video. So up the top right here, where I'm currently doing a live broadcast, we'll put in the video, the recorded video of today. We'll put that in here. So we will be doing more code alongs. So we will send out more emails and let people know when they are. I hope you really enjoyed today, and we hope to see you again soon. Oh, and don't forget, if you haven't done it already, try out our Easter egg, our hidden Easter egg game. So if you want another project to do, our hidden Easter egg game is going to be there for another day or so. So find the egg on our site, which I just showed you where it is, and I said it at the start of this video. Click on it and you can work away and do the Easter egg project. So hope to see you all again soon. Bye.